You know what I love about these conferences? I love that you can walk around the halls and you meet the most incredible people. Like Tai Zen, who owns cryptocurrency.market, which is a YouTube channel which produces crypto content. Apparently he's also an investor. Tai, you're an investor. We've just come out of a market correction, which everybody called it. We went down to 6,000 on Bitcoin. Where are we going?
Right now, the market's been selling off because after a huge run-up like that, it's typical for traders and investors to take profits. Myself, and people on my team, and the other traders on my team, we were waiting for this new tax season, see what the new Trump tax plan is going to look like before we started taking profits. So we're not the only ones. There's a lot of people doing that.
Is your view that now we're going to really go up to $1 trillion?
I'm expecting that once it breaks the 50% retracement coming back up, then we have a better shot at reaching the previous all-time highs. Obviously, I'm an investor in crypto and Bitcoin and blockchain technology, so I'm extremely biased and bullish on it.
So let's look at what actually happened. We had Bitcoin go up, we had the markets go up, and the market got overheated, and then the market turned and came down again, and we went down to what you call a 50% retracement. Now we're on the way up. In this upturn, what would you be buying?
Some of the ones that on our team, on our channel at cryptocurrency.market, we have a huge bias towards privacy coins because that's out of all the human rights that we have, privacy is something that governments, banks, institutions, and businesses can intrude in our privacy. And so projects such as the upcoming fork on Bitcoin, the Z Classic and the Bitcoin private fork, projects like Monero, Zcash, any of these privacy-centric coins is something that we're heavily looking at, okay? And then the other one is our favorite is what we call the governance bucket. So there's like over 1,500 cryptocurrencies on the market, and on our team we classify them into individual buckets. So like Zcash, Monero, Pivx, Particle, Bitcoin Private, all those things go in the privacy bucket. And then over here we have what's called the governance bucket, because they're solving a problem that's existing in Bitcoin right now where they don't have a final decision-making process and implementation process. So projects such as Decred, and Dash, they have a huge focus on governance. So we put those in the governance bucket. And there's other coins that serve like Pivx that serve such as a governance that fits in the governance bucket and the privacy bucket at the same time.
For our viewers who don't know what governance actually means, just explain to us what the concept of governance actually
Governance
means.
is extremely important in cryptocurrency because when the software needs to get updated, who or what makes the final decision, right? And so if there's a voting mechanism so that people can vote on what the community wants to upgrade that software, then that's what gets implemented, and that's huge. Right now, a lot of the cryptocurrency projects don't have what a formal governance process like Decred or like Dash, where they can, hey, you and I can argue that you want upgrade A added to the software, I want upgrade B added to the software, and because we don't have a final decision-making process or a conflict resolution or a final dispute resolution process, the upgrade never happens. Like in Bitcoin right now, we have SegWit, which was implemented, it took years to get that implemented because there was no formal mechanism for people to participate and do that.
So you're saying you'd rather put your money into coins where they do have a solid governance mechanism? Yeah. Like you say, Pivx is a great example. I think Dash is probably the blue-eyed.
Yeah, the Dash is like the biggest, quote-unquote, the one that shines the most right now in the governance arena, and the second one that's coming right behind its tail would be the Decred project. And just so your audience know, I have to disclose that whatever I talk about, I'm invested in it, so it's full disclosure, and there could be a complete conflict of interest because I'm talking about it since I'm invested in it.
Well, if you're buying, I'm buying.
Well, I'm not a licensed financial advisor. I'm a trader, so I have to disclose what I'm invested in on your show.
Fantastic. So, what about securities tokens? What about things like Polymath and T0 and this whole?
Those are very interesting projects because the two biggest use case, right? Originally, when I got into Bitcoin back in 2012, I thought that, and everybody did, everybody in the Bitcoin community thought that the biggest use case for Bitcoin would be in like the areas of payments, remittances, and cross-border payment transfers and things like that. And what it's actually become, Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies and all of them have become is now being used for clearing and settlement. It's being used for capital formation. And the one that you just mentioned is tokenization and securitization of companies and businesses and assets is going to be huge. So in case your audience doesn't know, Polymath is a project that's designed to take a business and then instead of giving everybody shares in that business when they start the business, right? Business owners can use the Polymath platform to tokenize it. So let's say that you start a new business, right? And I want to participate and contribute to your business when you're raising money. Instead of you giving me shares, now you're giving me tokens so that I have the tokens. And the value behind that is that for the first time in human history, I can take those tokens and trade it for someone else, trade it with someone else. I don't, whether you have the shares. Right now, for example, like the Exodus wallet, one of my colleagues invested into their Series A, and he has shares in the Exodus wallet, but he can't move it, he can't sell it, he can't do nothing with it until the company gets bought or the company gets sold, right? But if it was a token, if it's been tokenized by a project like Polymath, now I can trade it freely with whoever I want.
So with Polymath coming on board and then T0, which is the securities exchange, what we're going to be in a situation where the blockchain, which promised to create remittances, actually creates opportunities for the masses to invest and to participate in a whole lot of different projects.
Absolutely. See, Bitcoin was originally created so that it can help the unbanked and the little guys that do not have, the unbanked people in the world that don't have financial access to banking services. But instead, now it has evolved to become, instead of being a payment system or a currency for them, it's actually become a capital formation where those same people that are unbanked now have access to contribute and participate into whatever projects they want. So if you or I start a business or a project, those people in these countries where they don't have banking service, they can actually contribute.
Talk about financial disintermediation and financial inclusion.
Yeah.
What an amazing time to be alive. Tai, before I let you go, 5 tokens, 3-year holding period, no buying and no selling. What does your portfolio look like?
Well, if one at a time. You said 3 tokens I'm holding, right?
You're holding 5 tokens for 3 years, no buying and no selling. What are they?
The first one would be just random order, okay? In no particular order. Polymath, T0, Decred. I'm holding, those 3 because Decred is solving a huge governance issue in those. And then what was the other one? You said 5, right?
Yeah.
Dash, yes. I have a small position in Dash, right?
One more token.
One more token. You put me on the spot here. I think Neo is going to be huge, and Waves, right, is going to be huge. Waves is a project out of Russia that not a lot of people talk about, right? But they're one of the earlier cryptocurrency projects, and they have huge funding with Sasha and them. He's a physicist. He knows what he's doing. He's failed many times before in the past with other projects, and he's learned from it. And each time he fails, he learns from it. He makes the next project better. So him.
But Tai, for our viewers that don't know what Waves does, Waves is an amazing project. Maybe tell our viewers a little bit about what Waves actually does.
Waves is like one of the early cryptocurrency crowd sales that started, and what Sasha did was he originally, if you're familiar with Shapeshift, it's what's called an instant exchange, and he created the first I would call an instant exchange. But that did not go through. I think it's because he was from Russia. But then after that, he learned from that and he started the Waves platform. And what they're doing now is they're creating what's called a gateway to allow projects to come in. If people want to bring US dollars and fiat, which is the biggest friction point, the hurdle for people that want to get into crypto, is they can't get money into the cryptocurrency world. And they can't, how do you convert a fiat currency that most people in the crypto space think don't have a lot of value? And how do you get that converted into crypto? So Waves is solving a huge problem, building their decentralized exchanges like the TIDEX exchange, where people can now, and they're working hard to get things legal and compliant with different countries to bring it into the space.
So I noticed you didn't have Bitcoin in your portfolio.
Absolutely not, because Bitcoin is not doing what it's functioned to be. And when the Bitcoin maximalists, they hear this, they're gonna have a fit when they hear me say that. But I invest in projects that have potential. We're a trading and investing channel, so we're here to make money, right? I mean, we don't have any qualms about that. So we look at the projects that give us the highest return. And people might say that, if Bitcoin can go from 10,000 to 20,000, to us, that's only a 100% return. In the crypto space, we call that a 1x, right? We look for projects that have 10x, 20x, 100x opportunities, right? this market is extremely hot. It's sizzling right now. And I mean, I hate to use words like that, but that's what's actually happening right now. You know, when Bitcoin goes from 1,000 to 20,000, right? But for us, right, these hot markets don't come just from Bitcoin. They come from a wide variety of cryptocurrencies. So that's not the only one. That's not the only big boy in town.
Tai, ICOs, they're all the rage right now. Everybody's buying ICOs. Everyone's looking for that 100x. Are you looking for the 100x? And if you're
Absolutely,
looking,
that's what we're here for.
And
we're not here to make a 1x.
And
if we want to make 1x, we'll stick to the stock, futures, forex, and options trading.
so where are you looking? What are your favorite ICOs today?
The favorite ICOs, and this is going to be completely biased, and there's going to be a complete conflict of interest here.
You're an investor.
Yeah, I'm an investor in Polymath. I'm an investor in T0 and things like that. So when I talk about it, right, it's an obvious conflict of interest.
So Polymath, you're in.
I'm
T0, you're
Polymath
in. What are your other ICOs?
Like I said, Particle.io. They're doing a marketplace. They're releasing like an eBay privacy marketplace. We're huge fans of privacy.
Where you can pay with crypto.
Yeah, well, you can pay with crypto, and the unique thing about their privacy marketplace, it's like an eBay on the blockchain. It's decentralized. There's no censorship. It's permissionless, and they're working on that, right? When they release that, I believe that's a huge game changer, right? And again, I have to say this again. You know,
You're an investor.
I'm
You're
an
an
investor.
investor.
Complete bias, okay? So I believe that right now, when you and I try to sell something on eBay or Amazon, Amazon, what they're doing is they're taking a look at what you're selling, they're tracking your sales data, and then they're going out to China and competing a competing product to compete against you. Right?
Particle doesn't
but
allow
Particle, they're focused on privacy, so whatever you sell on your marketplace, other people can't come in and copy it and use it against you. I believe that it's unfair that they're building a platform, and what they're doing is they're scanning all the vendors to see who's got the top selling products, and then they go out and clone it and then sell it back and then direct traffic to their products instead of yours, when you were the one who took the risk in creating the product and marketing it and generating sales for it, and now they're collecting that sales data, and now they're cloning their own product, and then they're selling it and taking away your business. Particle's marketplace is designed to eliminate that, right? So that for the people that want to have a chance, to the little guy that wants to have a chance to sell their products online in an eBay style, right? You can do it without being spied upon and being intruded upon.
And when
right?
does Particle ICO launch?
No, they never had an ICO. They had a rebranding, but that happened like almost a year ago, if I remember it correctly. And their Particle marketplace is coming out this later this year or something like that. I'm not sure of the exact time. You know, I'm not a developer on there. I'm just an investor and a trader that I do with them. And then they're also doing some very innovative stuff. They did like some cold staking. Staking, in case your audience doesn't know, is where you volunteer your computer, you acquire their tokens, and you put it on your computer, and then your computer, you just leave it running, and then what it does is it secures their network, and it processes transactions for their network, and in return you get rewarded in Particle tokens, right? And because when you do that, it's helping to process and speed up the network. And right now, I think that their reward is averaging like around 5%, and then if
5% per?
5% reward. You know, so
Per
like,
month, per week, per year?
per year.
Per year.
And that's for people who are not traders like us, you know, and that are very conservative, and they want to try something new. That is something to consider. Pivx is also another project that is also a staking
You love
project.
Pivx because you've mentioned Pivx 3 times in the space of
Well, we're huge fans of privacy.
Yeah.
You know, and we're huge fans of making a residual income. So when I can stake my Particle and get a residual income, I can stake my Pivx and get a residual income. And the one that has the biggest staking reward is Decred project.
Decred, Dash, Neutron.
Yeah, Dash. But Dash, the problem with Dash, the reason why you don't hear me talk a lot about Dash, yeah, you need to master. The cost to get into that is prohibitive for a lot of your viewers. So because of that, you know, it may seem like I'm biased towards like Decred or Particle or Pivx or any of that, but it's more accessible to people. I don't like talking about projects that, you know, that people can't stake, right? So those are my favorites right there. Like I said, anything that has to do with privacy, anything that solves the governance issue is something, and anything that securitizes businesses and assets. And imagine this. I want you to imagine that you're a real estate developer or an investor, and you build like a $1 billion building. We want to build the next tallest building.
Now you can securitize it. And and it can be liquid.
Yeah, it can be liquid. And in the past, no one can. The little guys can't participate into your project, right, off of Wall Street. And now, thanks to like Polymath and projects like T0, they're making it possible so that the little guy, even somebody with only $10 or $100, can contribute $1 or $10 or $100 or $1,000 into your building project that's worth $1 billion.
Financial inclusion, securitization of the world.
Yeah.
We know those are the big themes for 2018.
Yeah.
Tai Zen, thank you for coming
Thanks
on
for
our
having
show.
me.